grow with a strong conviction of our party and what it stands for. That way, you can also lead with clarity, build with purpose, and sustain the NPP legacy that has been entrusted to you. It is time to stop feeling sorry for ourselves. Yes, we lost 2024 elections in a big way, but let us be clear. This was not a defeat born out of failure. It was a perfect storm of adversity no government in the Fourth Republic has ever had. From the banking crisis that threatened to collapse our financial system, which we spent billions fixing, restoring confidence and stability, to the global COVID-19 pandemic that brought the world to its knees. Then came the Russia-Ukraine war, unleashing the harshest cost of living crisis in generation. And through it all, we governed with a hung parliament and an opposition speaker. No government in our democratic history faced this scale of compounded crisis. Yet, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in the driving seat, we held the line. We do not downplay the struggle the Ghanaian people had to endure, but we should commend them because it was a sacrifices day, including the bondholders, made, which led to the big economic recovery we started witnessing from early 2024. We endured, the people endured, and still we delivered. That was leadership, tested best in major crisis. We should not be shy of the mighty gains we made under very difficult circumstances under Nana Akufo-Addo. We fixed the crisis and handed over an economy with stronger GDP growth than what we inherited in 2017. We built historic levels of gold and foreign exchange reserves the current administration is now relying on to prop up the city and support the economy. We created jobs. We built more roads than any government in 8 years span and implemented free SHS, a globally unprecedented feat in a country where most students are boarders. We industrialized like never before, from 1D, 1F, and industrial parks to an emerging automotive sector that positions Ghana as a manufacturing hub of Africa's single market. We expanded health infrastructure, revitalized agriculture, and rolled out STEM so boldly. The STEM education agenda, we successfully rolled it out to equip our youth with skills for the jobs of tomorrow, thanks to Matthew Opoku Prempeh and Dr. Educhum. We set Ghana on irreversible digitalization path, placing our nation at the forefront of promising digital economy and after. Fellow patriots, rather than feeling sorry for ourselves, let us face the truth. We took the hard, necessary decisions to save this economy. And now, Mohammed's government is taking propaganda credit, reaping where it has not sown when they talk about resetting, where it is its so-called 24-hour economy, the gold board or anything else. They are simply rebranding our achievements and marketing them as their own. Let no one be deceived. The foundation they are standing on was laid by this party, by our sacrifices, by our bold leadership in the face of crisis. So no, this party has no reason to hang its head at all. In closing, I want to reiterate our theme, rebuilding together with our values. It is a charge. It is a call to realign, to renew and to rise together. And we rise again in unity and in the enduring spirit of our party, our great NPP. And I say to all of you, though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we fear no evil. Let us go back to our roots. Let us rebuild with courage. Let us reimagine our future. And let us reclaim the spirit that built this party, a spirit of sacrifice, of loyalty, of conviction. We've done it before. We can do it again. And let it be that by the grace of God, we will. God bless us all. God bless the NPP. And God bless our beloved nation, Ghana. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, the minority leader the strong and dynamic Honorable Apenyo Markin. We now listen to a message from our immediate past President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The message is going to be read by a very dynamic lady. She's a two-term MP for Ayawaso West Wugon, the very constituency where this stadium, this beautiful edifice is built. She's been a deputy minister before. She has actually received an honorary doctorate, both in the international and national circles. She has received many awards. She has served the NPP with commitment and dedication. And she's the first female chief of staff in Ghana. Let us welcome with a round of applause our own very honorable Akosua Frem.
The acting national chairman of the New Patriotic Party and the national executives, the former president, His Excellency John Ajekum Kufuor, the former vice president, Dr. Alhaji Mahamadou Bawumia, and spouse, Hajia Samira Bawumia, the minority leader and members of parliament, members of the National Council and members of the Council of Elders, representatives of political parties present, the diplomatic corps, former ministers of state and other government appointees, regional executives, constituency executives, members of TESCON, members of conference, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I read you the message from His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I feel a profound sense of gratitude for the trust and cooperation conference has shown me from the days of old, and most particularly during my tenure as President of the Republic for 2 consecutive terms. It was a great privilege to serve in that capacity on the ticket of our ever-capable New Patriotic Party. I say ever-capable because of that our non-consecutive periods in government since the 1992 dispensation began, firstly, under President John Ajekum Kufuor from the 2001 to 2009, and secondly, myself, that is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, from 2017 to 2025. We have, through it all, demonstrated the resilience of our rank and file against challenges and shown without doubt, as our records have proven, that it is always only under the new patriotic government that Ghana thrives. Today, we gather here at conference as representatives of the teeming mass of party faithfuls across the country to undertake a very important constitutional endeavor. As delegates, it is important to remind ourselves that this crucial representative function for and on behalf of our people transcends being physically present here. Wherever we are from, though we convene here at the University of Ghana, this esteemed institution of learning and history, the acquired sentiments of despair and doubt of the people we are representing today, we most importantly carry their sentiments and expectation and hope. Hope that the key steps we will undertake here will in whole or in part be a formidable effort towards restructuring, rebuilding, and reclaiming the reins of governance of our dear country. And that, whilst the path will not always be easy, we will remain deeply proud of the progress made at every step, the lives we touched, and the hope we inspired. Whilst our present situation has been necessitated by circumstances we cannot ignore, I am optimistic through dialogue, mutual understanding, strong commitment to our principles and values, we can rebuild the bridges and restore the unity that has always been our strength. Fellow delegates, conference must reflect what we want all to know, that ours is not just a political party, it is a family. And as is typical of every family, we must find ways to reconcile differences and ensure that every member has a place at the table and is up and ready to be counted. We must unleash inherent energy amongst our youth with enough focus on adequate use of our structures like the recently inaugurated Patriotic Institute to empower them and offer them the opportunities to grow. They are no more the future, they are the present. Their energy, innovation, and resilience must be the driving forces behind our progress on this rebuilding journey. Our efforts must be all-inclusive. That is why structures or laws crafted in a bygone era, which notably do not reflect the realities and aspirations of our contemporary existence, must be opened up and critically examined to follow for proper reforms. Severally, I have stated, and today will be no exception, that we must continue to stand firm and united behind the eternally forthright ideals and principles of the Dankwa Dombo Buzia political tradition, which has proven the most suited political tradition on our Ghanaian market. We must make room for belief to replace doubt. For it was out of nothing that our illustrious forebears found purpose in a melting pot of scenic salt pond to bear what has over the years transformed into the formidable political ticket we have in the NPP. Our conduct, therefore, throughout this period will either reinforce the confidence of the Ghanaian people in the NPP or draw them away from us. Accordingly, I wish us all at the National Annual Delegates Conference, I wish you well and hope that the deliberations will be fruitful. May God bless the new Patriotic Party and us all, and may God bless our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our mother, who has made history, the first ever female chief of staff. Thank you very much. Ma Nyamin Shirao. Thank you, Ma Nyamin Shirao. Okay.
Who has the leadership competence necessary to protect and move forward this extraordinary nation in the next chapter of its process? Who can lead us to take the next bold steps towards the prosperity and general well-being of every citizen of Ghana. The first focus for those of us in the NPP is 22nd December 2007, when the party's 2008 presidential candidate will be selected by the National Congress. Last week, I completed my nationwide consultation with the rank and file of the party, the renowned water testing exercise, so described by our national chairman. The gathering of all 230 constituents of the country in the Upper East region on Sunday, 23rd, 2008.
People of Ghana, not taking them for granted, because as I said, the electoral history should show an electorate that can change this vote within 4 years, like we experienced from 2016 to 2020, and then from 2020 to 2020, knows what it's about. Most of the electorate now, they are on campuses, university campuses. Places that used to be our readouts, our citadels, Legon, and how did we fare in Legon last election? Even with our own children there. Please, So we have serious homework. The ancient wise people, they said, make haste slowly. Make haste slowly. Don't rush, don't stampede, thinking that is the way to find solutions. No, we are dealing with all due respect, very wise electorates. And then, as
Thank you very much. Very, very insightful, inspirational. Messages from Now let's welcome His Excellency, the former Vice President, Dr. Alhaj Muhammadu Bawumia, to give us his message.
Mama kuma tomiemo
Kukrudu. Kukrudu. Kukrudu.
National Chairman, Acting the General Secretary, our former President J. Kufuor, former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who I'm sure are watching us, the former Chief of Staff, the former Second Lady, my beautiful Samira, members of Parliament, former ministers and former members of Parliament, former MMDCs, our national executives, external members of external branches, regional executives, constituency executives, electoral area coordinators, polling station executives, and representatives of other political parties, fellow Kukrudites. Kukrudu. It is with mixed feelings that I welcome you all to this National Delegates Conference. It is a joy to see the representation of our party from across the country converge once again for conference. I, however, would have wished that we would have been doing so under different circumstances. Yet, still, I am filled with hope that as we reflect and reorganize, we will soon be given the opportunity once again by our countrymen and women to serve and assist in rebuilding and transforming our nation. Crocodites, the task ahead of us is one that we have to conduct with diligence and measure. In times like this, we should be focused on strengthening our bonds of unity and reinvesting in the ties that bind us. Our foundation and our strength has always been in building a united party. We have been the party that has over the years built the broadest coalition of citizens, not just to win, but to govern. We have been the party that has over the years offered hope to the largest diversity of our peoples. Under our tent, it has not mattered where you come from, whether you are Sefi, Fanti, Ewe, Ashanti, Gadangme, Krobo, Dagomba, Wala, Dagati, Konkomba, Frafra, or Mamprusi. It has not mattered what religion you practice, whether you are a Christian, a Muslim, or a traditional African religious practitioner. It has not mattered whether you are rich or poor, or whether you are formally educated or not. This is why the root of our party resulted from an amalgamation of parties from different parts of Ghana and different interest groups. Let us remind ourselves that the parties that merged to form the United Party included the National Liberation Movement, dominant in Ashanti, the Northern People's Party, representing the Northern Territories, the Muslim Association Party, the Anglo Youth Organization based in the Volta region. Ga Shefimope represented the Ga interests in Greater Accra region. The Togoland Congress focused on British Togoland interests. The Federation Youth Organization. It is clear, therefore, that the bonds of unity in diversity has been our lifeblood and our foundation. Now more than ever, we must refresh them and desist from any language, character, or actions that divide us. With unity and consistency, we can regain the trust of Ghanaians. If we are fractured and at each other's throats, none of us can cross over and lead us to fulfill this party's purpose. Let me say that tribalism and religious bigotry, from whichever quarters it emanates, pose an existential threat and should have no place in the new patriotic party. We must also be consistent in pursuance of our effort to address not just the challenges within, but more importantly, the challenges that bedevil our motherland. In governance, there are ups and downs. Through the President J. Kufuor and President Nana Akufo-Addo periods, we succeeded at many things with monumental and transformational achievements. Their achievements, these two great presidents, their achievements will stand the test of time. We have also learned useful lessons in how to improve some things in the future. We must remain resolute and consistent in doing the right things again and in applying the lessons the next time. We must ensure that Ghanaians genuinely see the lessons we have learned and are willing to apply the next time round. We shouldn't be shy about them. It is then that our fellow countrymen and women will give us another opportunity to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, an army that wants to win a battle must exercise discipline within its ranks. Too often, when we are yet to choose leaders, indiscipline, unacceptable language, and unpardonable behavior become the order of the day. In the end, when internal competitions are over, the attacks we would have launched on ourselves become fodder and ammunition which our opponents use to attack us. We experienced it in the 2024 campaign, and we should not let it happen again a second time. This is why I call on all Kukrudites to stop internal attacks now. Let's stop the internal attacks now. Let us rather focus on the attempt by the NDC to undermine our democracy and rule of law in trying to remove the Chief Justice. Let us focus on their clear intention to go after the Electoral Commissioner subsequently. Let us focus on the violence and thuggery their hoodlums carried out in the recent Ablekuma election, in full view of the police and cameras. I again call on His Excellency the President to bring the perpetrators to book and to remind them that the elephant never forgets. No matter how long it takes, we will prosecute the perpetrators when we assume office in 2029, inshallah. To the leadership of the party, I ask that you be firm and crack the whip so that discipline is maintained within our ranks. It is with discipline, humility, lessons learned, and the pursuit of a common good for Ghana that we can become the refreshed party we desire. Finally, in all our decisions today and in all our actions towards the reform process, let us be guided by the rule of what is in the best interest of Ghana. At dawn on December 8th, 2024, as I prepared my remarks to concede the election of 2024, my singular focus was on what's in the best interest of Ghana. I am fortified in my heart that as politicians, we should always be guided by what's in the best interest of Ghana at all times. What represents the best example to Ghana's children? What is in Ghana's best interest will always be in the best interest
possible after that 2024 elections. I've not heard it so far. Maybe they've said it and I didn't catch that. But yes, the NPP's 2024 presidential candidates right there, and the country's former vice president, Bawumia, doctor, just addressing the delegates now and taking his leave off the stage. And that looks like a quite impressive chair on by the delegates in that conference over there. But Doc, maybe you want to...
Yes. I'll come to Dr. Bawumia.
You want to pick up on the...
A possibility in the sense that if you look at the NPP, Ghana, our system, party system, is what we call a two-party system. Two-party means that you have so many parties in the state, but only two have what it takes to win power and form a government, exclusive to themselves. So if you look at it, CPP, other parties, they are not strong. These parties have dominated them. So they are dominant parties. These are dwarf parties, other ones. And so all that NPP has to do is to get their bases right, put their house in order, be united, and then take their chances. And then they can be back to power. Because for a two-party system, the slightest mistake that the ruling party does...
We're quick to move to the other one.
Exactly so.
If not for how the parliamentary elections went in 2024, I'd say that in 2016, we would have described that Mahama losing as quite one that we've not seen before, up until this 2024. Because it was then,
yes,
we'll say that it was a huge loss to the NDC.
1 million votes.
1 million votes. Now it's increased on the part of the NPP.
Yes,
so at every election era, there is a new number to difficult because of the peculiarity of the 2028 elections. And we're talking about this even before we came back on air, that it's not in 2024. We said it's a different kind of elections. Why? A former president seeking re-election and a vice president seeking to want to continue what his president was doing. Now in 2028, until anything or any surprises, President Mahama will not have the eligibility to want to represent the people of NDC and want to be president. Which means that it gives birth to a very new era for both parties.
Yes.
And it's why I like to think why the NPP still sees that huge hope in the 2028. It's not business as usual. Because if it's business as usual, then Doc, we'll say, you know what, NPP, let's go into 2028. The cycle, the tradition of 8 years era. Maybe wait. After 2028, then maybe we seek proper election. We only contest because we have to. But what are the chances in that 2028 for both parties?
You see, the 2028 present a new phenomenon altogether. In the sense that, as you rightly pointed out, you are getting Mahama completely off. So a new person is going to be on the ballot. And obviously, even if the person has served in a government before or not, he has never experienced that contest or has never campaigned as a president before. So you are going to get somebody like that. If you get, say, Bawumia, then there's a different story because he has seen it as a vice president and a running mate and that, and then, of course, as a flag bearer. So he has some level of experience. But all those things are part of the things that are icing on the cake. But the real issue, the crust of the matter, the issue of what really influenced voter choices. It's not the history. It's not a certain phenomenon But what are the indices or the factors that influence voter choices? Those are the things that shape the contours of elections in Ghana.
Which, yeah, very true.
Because you can have 8 years, you are going for a fresh election where the actors are fresh on the political plane. But what are the things that define their moment? Economy.
True.
If there is a government is able to perform very well, right, all that the NPP will have is their past record to stand on to campaign. And if that doesn't match the NDC, obviously there will not be a match to consider.
This is so true, Doc, because if you look at the CDD report in 2016, the factors that they list that accounted to the NDC losing is not too far from what happened in 2024. Now, we may go back to the proposed amendment, the rumored proposed amendment, which we may be hearing the party taking on with a voice vote. Maybe Amendment 6 says that scrap the special electoral college to allow more than 5 flag bearer aspirants. Do you agree to this? Scrap the special electoral college. Superfluous?
Oh yes, we didn't need that because what were they going to do after you've elected? Then that body also comes. It's a waste of their time and everybody's time. So I think that there is a sense in that. Get the basis right. The basis is what? Expand and forget about all that they are going to waste their time on that super delegate conference. Expand the electoral base.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. You cure that by expanding the electoral base.
You expand the electoral base because you are talking about voters at which level. So give everybody who is really qualified the opportunity to vote.
When it's time for the voice vote, when it gets to that amendment, I really would like to see how that would end. But let's go to 7, where they're asking grant an amnesty to suspended or resigned members.
It is in their own interest to do that because political parties act. You know, what is the duty of political parties? Their primary duty is to win power and form the next government. How do you do that? You need numbers. So anybody that the party believe that he is offended by certain action or he has done something and he has received enough punishment, for which reason you want to bring him back to the fold. Why not? Because you are talking about a game of what? Numbers. Every one vote counts a lot.
It doesn't threaten deterrence. It doesn't threaten discipline and all of that. You
have disciplined them already. And that, what else do you want? Remember, even in prison, when you imprison somebody, it is a way of reforming the person. You don't imprison to destroy. You don't punish to destroy. So you have punished the person for a while. Yeah, it's good. Bring him back. It's like you have, spanked your child. You bring him back to your side and begin to mold. So they are bringing them back. It's good. Because you see, people like Paula Fuku, Kwabena Japong, and Co, they kept them away. They have following, large following. And so later, Kwabena Japong came in and all that. Where is Afuku? Other people. If they can even extend an olive branch to even Alan, I wouldn't fault them. Because take it or leave it. Forget about what happened in the last election. I said from day one, Alan will not win because a third party can never win power, at least in our time. Maybe the coming of Christ. It won't happen. Because if you look at the fact that Ghana is built along two-party system, any other party is what? Dwarfed by the dominant party. You cannot. It's not a case, it's scientific and all that. So Alan, I knew he was not going to win, and he didn't win. But you can go and have a conversation and see whether you can get him back.
It's really surprising considering how well he performed historically.
Yeah.
It's just surprising that he didn't do quite well in the recent
I knew,
one.
and I said it, if you follow your networks, I said that he will not win. He will not make any showing, but he's likely to push the election to a second round. Because you see, I have done a research with my team from 1992 up to 2024. All the smaller parties, their effort has not traveled beyond 4%. All of them. So you are talking about as an individual. What can you do? When the threshold is beyond 50%, obviously it's an impossible adventure for them. They will not. It tells you, and it's not only that, Ghana is built along two-party systems. I mean, because those who handed us and gave us independence, their parties are also what? A two-party state. If you go to what? Britain, it's a two-party, Labour, Conservative, that's all. Any other party, you are what? A dwarf party. What Huntington and Co call a three-quarter party.
That's hilarious. Right, today may be the location, I'm not sure, but from 1998, 2009, 2017, plus today, what's generally the conference today? What's your assessment so far? What you've seen, the speeches, the ambience? I mean, you've seen the 2024 flag bearer as well walking there, the reception and all of that. What would you say?
I must say I've not been able to watch all of them, but the little that I've seen, if you look at what we are seeing today, fine. But I always want, I say with a pinch of salt, because with some level of, let me put it that way, some level of reservation, in the sense that if you see crowd and you want to judge by it, what we call in political science as what? You know, there's a term for it, where you use numbers, you know, to deceive people into believing that you have actually the numbers. It's not the case. And always politicians play that card. People can be badged to places. People can just go there as just go and watch what is going on and all that. So those things.
Our distinguished delegates, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. This obviously is the climax of today's engagement. The 2025 National Annual Delegates Conference of this great party, the New Patriotic Party, NPP. Distinguished party faithful, in keeping with the tradition of the New Patriotic Party and in line with the spirit of the party constitution, the National Council of the party at this meeting on April 16, 2025, constituted a 9-member Constitution Amendment Committee following the submission of the report of the Professor Okwe-led 2024 Election Review Committee. The committee, which was subsequently inaugurated by the National Chairman on April 25, 2025, had the following composition. Dr. Ekwia Amwakun, member. Honorable Ebenezer Gilbert Nina Nate, Dr. Antoinette Tibudakun, Honorable Diana Asonabadapa, Honorable Makafui Wanya, Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah Esquire, Honorable Patricia Apiaje, Idi Muhayedin Esquire, Member Secretary, and of course my good self, Frank Davis Esquire, Chairman. The terms of reference of the committee included to identify provisions of the party constitution that require amendments in order to give effect to the recommendations of the Mike Okwe Election Review Committee, to work on the recommendations of the 2021 Constitution Review Committee chaired by Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, to receive proposals from party members and identifiable groups for amendments to the party constitution, to categorize the proposals into various articles and clauses for ease of reference, to make appropriate recommendations to guide the debate at the National Delegates Conference. In line with the party's tradition and the letter and spirit of the party constitution, particularly Article 19, the General Secretary, by a formal communication dated April 25, 2025, requested party members and identifiable groups who wish to propose amendments to the party's constitution to submit their written proposals to the Office of the General Secretary or send same directly to the committee via an email address set out for that purpose. Consequently, the committee received over 300 amendment proposals, both in hard copy and via the official email address. In pursuance of its mandate, the committee critically examined these amendment proposals, considered the Afenyo Markin-led Constitution Review Committee, as well as the recommendations of the Professor Okwe-led Election Review Committee for Constitutional Reforms. The committee then examined the provisions in the NPP Constitution in respect of which amendments have been proposed and the Constitution as a whole. While streamlining and categorizing the proposed amendments under the various articles and clauses, the committee made recommendations for their acceptance or otherwise. Where appropriate, the committee also made some modifications to ensure coherence and consistency with other constitutional provisions, and more importantly, with the time-tested tradition and aspirations of the party as enshrined in the Constitution. Recommendations made by the committee were informed largely by the totality of the views expressed by the proponents, the underlying principles and traditions of the party, which ought to be respected and protected, while ensuring that the Constitution reflects current socio-political developments of the party in its forward march to advancing the cause of democracy and the rule of law. Fellow delegates, below are the motions formulated by the committee out of the amendment proposals that were submitted to both the General Secretary and committee by party members and identifiable groups for consideration and approval by the National Delegates Conference herein assembled. For the purposes of clarity and to make what we are about to do very distinct without any misunderstanding when we leave here, I'm going to set out the modalities for the run of the motions. I am going to take the motions seriatim from 1 to 56. After I have read out the motions, the justification for the motions will be read by another member of the committee in the person of Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah Esquire. After the recommendations, the motion will be put to vote, and we are going to have a voice vote, the ayes and the nays. Distinguished fellow delegates, party faithful, if I have your attention at this particular point in time, I would start the exercise in earnest. Motion number 1. To amend Article 1 of the Constitution to include the party's motto, symbol, and colors.
Justification. The absence of the party's motto, symbol, and colors in the Constitution is an obvious omission and ought to be rectified. The party's motto, symbol, and colors must find expression in the party's constitution.
Fellow delegates, those in favor of motion number 1, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 2, Article 3(7). Amend Article 3(7) of the Constitution to give the power to recommend suspension of a member or an office holder pending disciplinary action against him to the appropriate disciplinary committee rather than the executive committee.
Justification. The amendment is necessary to ensure justified suspension of party executives, either elected or appointed by executive committees, only upon recommendation by the disciplinary committee, pending disciplinary proceedings against such officers. It is the disciplinary committee that shall recommend suspension, having regard to its preliminary findings.
Having heard the motion loudly and the justification, distinguished delegates, those in favor of motion number 2, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 3, amend Article 437. Amend Article 437 of the Constitution to allow for a complaint against any constituency or regional officer, whether elected or appointed, to be filed at 1 in the case of the constituency officer, the regional executive committee, and 2 in the case of the regional officer, the national executive committee.
Justification. The amendment seeks to achieve fair and equal treatment or handling of disciplinary matters involving elected officers and appointed officers who are at the same level of the party, by providing that they should be dealt with by the same disciplinary committee.
Having heard motion number 3, distinguished delegates, those in favor say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 4, amend Article 5(6). Amend Article 5(6) of the Constitution to adopt the Electoral Commission of Ghana's demarcation and cluster of electoral areas.
Chairman, the justification is as follows. The EC's electoral area systems are predetermined, bereft of controversies, and involve more polling stations than the party's demarcations of electoral area. The current provision in the party's constitution is that where polling stations under an electoral area exceed 10, an additional electoral area may be created. This lack of certainty and exactitude has triggered misunderstandings in the creation of some electoral areas. The adoption of the EC's electoral area system cures any such misunderstanding or perceived mischief.
Motion number 4. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 5. Article 6. I must say at this stage that this is a new provision. Amend Article 6 of the Constitution to provide for an electoral area executive committee structure made up of 5 members who shall all be elected, comprising the electoral area chairperson, secretary, organizer, communications officer, and electoral affairs officer.
The justification is as follows, Chairman. The current system requires limited expansion to allow for increased participation and support in the management of the electoral areas. A 5-member committee enhances operational capacity and ensures a more inclusive and structured approach to supervising polling station activities.
Distinguished delegates, those in favor of motion number 5, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 6, amend Article 6(1) of the Constitution to increase the polling station executives from 5 to 7, who are all to be elected, comprising the chairperson, secretary, organizer, women's organizer, youth organizer, communications officer, and electoral affairs officer.
Chairman of Conference, this committee respectfully recommends the one-man, one-vote system as a long-term electoral framework for the party. In the absence of the foundational structures for the one-man, one-vote electoral system, the proposed limited expansion, which, if approved, will represent a 40% increase in the electoral college at the polling station level, is more realistic and manageable. It has the effect of increasing the electoral college considerably while the party works on the recommended one-man, one-vote system. Respectfully submitted.
I now put the vote. Those in favor of motion number 6, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 7. Amend Articles 6(1), 7(2), 9(1), and 10(7)(3) of the Constitution to split or decouple the position of research and electoral affairs officer at the constituency, regional, and national levels of the party.
Chairman, the amendment brings the needed focus and attention to each of the two responsibilities. Also, it is not every researcher who understands electoral matters and vice versa. Therefore, the recommendation is that separating the positions and appointing people with the requisite expertise to occupy the respective positions will inure to the party's benefit.
Those in favor, delegates, motion number 7, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes obviously have it. Motion number 8. Amend Article 7(2) of the Constitution to include the Constituency Research Officer, Electoral Affairs Officer, PWD, that persons with disability coordinator on the Constituency Executive Committee.
Justification. This represents a limited expansion of the Constituency Executive Committee and seeks to promote inclusivity and broader participation in party activities at the constituency level.
Delegates, those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 9. Amend Articles 7.5, 9.2, and 10.7.3 of the Constitution to make communication officers at all levels of the party elected from the polling station, electoral area, constituency, regional, and at the national level. At the national level, the communication officer shall be designated the Director of Communications.
Mr. Chairman, the appointment of communication officers has, in many instances, been fraught with a lot of challenges occasioned by perceptions of favoritism and lack of candor. Making the positions elective will afford the party delegate opportunity to select persons that they think can best communicate for the party. For the avoidance of doubt, the deputy directors of communications shall remain appointed. Respectfully submitted, Chairman.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 10. Amend Articles 7.10 and 9.7 of the Constitution to prevent party officers who get appointed into government from continuing to hold their offices.
Justification. Party officers who are appointed into government should not be allowed to hold dual positions. So long as they have accepted the appointment to serve in government, it is recommended that they focus on their mandate in government and give opportunity for other equally competent party members to occupy their positions in the party. It is also in line with the provisions in Clause 10 of Article 7 and Clause 7 of Article 9, which are intended to ensure that government appointees do not hold constituency, regional, and national executive offices. Chairman, respectfully submitted.
Delegates, those in favor of motion number 10, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 11. Amend Articles 726 and 924 of the Constitution to provide that any vacancy that may occur for whatever reason in the case of the constituency secretary and regional secretary shall automatically be filled by the deputy constituency and deputy regional secretary.
Chairman, the recommendation is as follows. The deputy constituency and deputy regional secretaries, just like the substantive constituency and regional secretaries, are also elected by the same delegates at the same conference. The deputy secretaries should be able to occupy the positions of the substantive secretaries in the absence of the latter. Respectfully submitted.
Delegates, those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 12. Amend Article 727 of the Constitution to give voting rights to national and regional officers at the Constituency Delegates Conference at the constituency they hail from.
Chairman, the amendment strengthens the connections between these officers and the respective constituencies they hail from, where they may also serve as patrons and source of logistical support. This amendment is also geared towards the proposed limited expansion of the Electoral College pending the one-man, one-vote system.
Delegates in favor of motion number 12, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 13. Our respected and distinguished delegates, with great respect, With great great respect.
It's going to be a long day for us, but then we're just going through the motions. MFR, thank you so much for walking us through all the process all the way from when we started. And it's time now for us to take it from here. We're just giving...
Amend Article 727B of the Constitution to give voting rights to the electoral area executives at the constituency biennial delegates conference.
Chairman, currently, electoral area coordinators and all polling station executives have voting rights at constituency delegate conferences. The proposed electoral area executives, made up of the electoral area coordinator, to be now called electoral area chairperson, and 4 other executives should also have voting rights at the constituency delegates conference. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor of motion just ably recommended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 15. Amend Articles 729 and 927 of the Constitution to allow constituency and regional secretaries to present reports on the state of the party at the constituency and regional delegates conference with the prior approval of the constituency and regional executive committee, as the case may be.
Recommendation. Constituency and regional secretaries are the administrative heads of the constituency and regional secretariats of the party, and it is appropriate that they present a report on the state of the party to the constituency and regional party, respectively, to the delegates conference, with prior approval of the constituency and Regional Executive Committee, as the case may be.
Those in favor of motion number 15, say aye. Those in favor, against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 16, amend Articles 729 and 927 of the Constitution to require the statement of accounts to be presented by the constituency and regional treasurers at the constituency and regional delegates conference to have received prior approval of the constituency and regional executive committee, as the case may be.
This amendment allows the constituency and regional executive committees to scrutinize and give a stamp of approval to the statements before they are presented at the delegates conference. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor, delegates, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 17, amend Article 7. Delegates, I know you have your booklet. And you have also read it. So permit me to also read it, then you can respond. Thank you very much. Motion number 17, amend Article 730 of the Constitution to provide that the Regional Executive Committee shall appoint persons other than polling station, electoral area, and constituency officers to supervise polling station and electoral area elections. Delegates in favor, say recommendation, sorry.
Dear delegates, please hear the recommendations. The recommendation is that constituencies are directly involved in the compilation of the album for organizing polling station and constituency elections. And therefore, it may be prudent that supervision of these elections be taken to the regional level to absolve it from any conflicting interest. Chairman.
My fellow delegates, those in favor of this motion, say aye. Those against, say nay. Yeah. That is the beauty of our democracy. This time, the nays have it. So motion number 17 has suffered a knockdown. Motion number 18. Amend Article 8 of the Constitution to specifically provide that the external branches shall have 3 representatives on the National Executive Committee and 5 representatives on the National Council.
Chairman, the party constitution under Article 8.5 grants the external branches representation at the National Executive and the National Council, but does not indicate the number of representatives they should appoint to serve on these bodies. This amendment brings clarity to the number of representatives the external branches shall have on the National Executive Committee and National Council. Respectfully submitted, Chairman.
Those in favor of motion number 18, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes once again have it. Motion number 19. Amend Articles 8 and 13, 11 of the Constitution to specifically provide that all former and current executives of the external branches shall have voting rights at the presidential primaries.
Chairman, the amendment seeks to extend the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to promote inclusivity and broader participation. This is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion 20. Amend Articles 8 and 10(2)(f) of the Constitution to specifically provide that all current executives of the external branches shall have voting rights at the National Delegates Conference.
Previously, Chairman, only 12 executives of the external branches were allowed to vote at the National Delegates Conference. This amendment allows all of them to vote, promotes inclusivity and broader participation. The amendment is also in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Those in favor of motion number 20, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Number 21, amend Article 9 of the Constitution to include Regional Electoral Affairs Officer, Regional Research Officer. At this stage, note the decoupling of the two. Regional Legal Officer, Regional PWD Coordinator, and the Special Duties Officer as part of the Regional Executive Committee.
Chairman, this is in line with the proposed limited expansion of the Regional Executive Committee.
PWD, I explained early on, is persons with disability. Those in favor, delegates, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 22, amend Article 9(1) of the Constitution to expand the composition of the Regional Executive Committee members to include constituency secretaries.
Constituency secretaries are responsible for all administrative matters at the constituency level, and it is only proper that they are a part of the regional executive committees. Chairman, this is highly recommended.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Number 23 is a new provision, Article 9(1). Amend the Constitution by inserting a new provision to create a regional steering committee composed of the regional officers, chairman of the Regional Council of Elders, and regional parliamentary caucus chair.
The proposed amendment aligns with what pertains at the national level, where we have a national steering committee, which is the body in charge of the day-to-day administration of the party at the national level. The regional steering committee shall also be responsible for the day-to-day administration of the party at the regional level. The regional steering committee system shall facilitate decision-making at the regional level. Respectfully submitted.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 24. Amend Articles 9, 10, 2, and 13 of the Constitution to grant voting rights to the regional and national TESCON coordinators and the TESCON president from each recognized tertiary institution in the country at the regional and national delegates conference, respectively.
Chairman, the regional TESCON coordinators are in charge of coordinating all the activities of TESCON in the various tertiary institutions within the region. It is only proper to grant them voting rights at conference, just like the executives whose activities they coordinate. The same principle applies to the national TESCON coordinators. The specificity on the TESCON president, and not just any representative of TESCON, avoids the usual challenge with validation of the representative from TESCON. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor, say aye.
Against, say nay. The ayes have it.
25. Amend Article 10.2 and 13.11 of the Constitution to grant voting rights to the TESCON president, and not a representative from TESCON, from each recognized tertiary institution at the regional and national delegates conference.
Chairman, the specificity on the TESCON president, and not just any representative of TESCON, avoids the usual challenge with validation of the representative from TESCON. Recommended.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 26. Amend Article, this is a new provision, amend Article 10 of the Constitution by inserting a new provision to include the consideration of position papers from sector committees of the party on key developments since the last National Delegates Conference at any current National Delegates Conference.
Chairman of Conference, the proposed amendment allows the National Delegates Conference to not only focus on speeches and election of national officers where necessary, but to also consider and debate reports submitted by the party's sector committees on key national issues and to pass appropriate resolutions on same. Highly recommended, Chairman.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 27. It is also a new provision. Amend Article 10 of the Constitution by inserting a new provision to modify the composition of the sector committees under the National Executive Committee to include both members of Parliament and non-members of Parliament, as well as their functions.
This allows the party to marshal its available best brains to serve on the various sector committees, whether or not they are members of Parliament. Recommended.
Those in favor, delegates, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 28. Amend Articles 10(2)(3)(e) and 13 of the Constitution to make all members of the National Council of Elders delegates at the National Delegates Conference and the presidential primaries.
Chairman,
Considering the indispensable roles played by the National Council of Elders, they deserve more representation at the party's highest decision-making body. In any case, per Article 16, the membership of the National Council of Elders shall not exceed 30, out of which 15 are already members or delegates to the National Annual Delegates Conference. Motion number 28 is recommended, Chairman.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 29. Amend Article 10.3 of the Constitution to increase the representation of the National Council of Elders on the National Council from 1 to 5 members, including the chairman of the National Council of Elders.
Chairman, the National Council of Elders is the foremost advisory body of the party and therefore ought to be adequately represented at the second highest decision-making body of the party.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Number 30. Amend Article 10.3 of the Constitution to provide for 4 additional standing committees and enable the National Council to create new standing committees as and when the Council deem fit. The new 4 standing committees shall be the Electoral Affairs Committee, Communications Committee, Political Strategy and Policy Committee, and Security and Intelligence Committee.
The proposed additional standing committees to be created are indispensable and crucial in supporting the National Council and, by extension, the entire party to function more effectively. The amendment also grants the National Council the mandate to create additional standing committees as and when necessary.
Delegates in favor of motion number 30, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 31. Amend Article 10.3a of the Constitution to expand the composition of the Finance Committee from 6 to 10 members, in addition to the National Treasurer.
Chairman, this amendment expands the composition of the Finance Committee in order to enhance the effectiveness of the committee.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 32. Amend Article 10.3(2)d of the Constitution to expressly provide that chairpersons of standing committees and directors at the party headquarters shall have voting rights at the National Council and consequently vote in the presidential primaries.
Chairman, this amendment admits chairmen of standing committees and directors at the party headquarters into membership at the National Council with voting rights.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 33. Amend Article 10.3(4) of the Constitution to include former majority and former minority leaders to the composition of the National Executive Committee and National Council.
The National Executive Committee stands to benefit immensely from the experiences of persons
who have once led the party's parliamentary group as majority or minority leaders. This motion is recommended, Chairman.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 34 is a new provision. Amend Article 10 of the Constitution by inserting a new provision to provide that the National Executive Committee shall, in consultation with the presidential candidate, develop the campaign structure and establish a campaign advisory committee to oversee the campaign team.
Chairman, this amendment deepens the collaboration between party and presidential candidates. Respectfully submitted.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 35 is also a new provision. Amend Article 10 of the Constitution by inserting a new provision to specifically provide that the national chairperson shall at all times be the leader of the party.
Chairman, the proposed amendment affirms the position of the national chairperson as the leader of the party at all material times. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 36. Amend Article 10(5) of the Constitution to specifically provide that the national chairperson shall chair the party's campaign advisory committee.
The national chairperson, as the leader of the party, should chair the party's campaign advisory committee to enhance collaborative work between the party and the campaign.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Against, say nay. The ayes have it. Number 37. Amend Article 10(4)(2) of the Constitution to increase the representation of the parliamentary group on the National Executive Committee from 1 to 3, comprising the leader and 2 others, one of whom shall be a woman.
My chairman, the parliamentary group is a critical organ of the party. It is the group that champions the party's policies and agenda in the legislative arm. The amendment seeks to increase the representation of the parliamentary group on the National Executive Committee. This is strongly recommended, Mr. Chairman.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. The ayes have it. 38. Amend Articles 10(7)(3) and 10(8) of the Constitution to provide that the National Treasurer shall report to the General Secretary.
Chairman, it is the view that the General Secretary, as the party's Chief Administrative Officer and the Chief Executive Officer of the party, who has superintendence over all officers except the National Chairperson and Vice Chairpersons, should exercise superintendence over the National Treasurer. The amendment aligns with the administrative structure of the party.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 39. Amend Article 10(10) of the Constitution to remove the President from the composition of the National Steering Committee of the National Executive Committee.
The steering committee of the party is in charge of the day-to-day administration of the party and should comprise only the 10 elected officers the presidential candidate, the parliamentary leader, and the chairman of the National Council of Elders.
Delegates in favor of motion number 39, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 40, amend Article 11 of the Constitution to specifically include a provision that allows the Constituency Executive Committee to remove a polling station or electoral officer from office with the prior approval of the Regional Executive Committee upon receipt of a petition from a member.
Chairman, the current Constitution has no provision on how polling station and electoral area officers may be removed from office. This new provision clarifies this. Respectfully, submitted.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 41. Amend Article 11 of the Constitution to include a provision requiring the need for the body to be constituted by the Executive Committee to recommend removal before the summoning of an extraordinary delegates conference for the purpose of removing an elected officer from office and for specific timelines for the removal process of such elected officer.
Chairman, this amendment brings clarity in the removal of officers and avoids the convening of an extraordinary delegates conference without recommendation from the body constituted by the Executive Committee.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 42. Amend Article 11.7 of the Constitution to explicitly provide guidelines and procedure for the removal from office of an appointed officer or executive to be done by the relevant executive committee with prior approval of the immediately higher executive committee.
This amendment, Chairman, clarifies the process for removal of appointed officers. Submitted.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 43. That's a new provision. Amend the Constitution by inserting a new provision to provide that national officers, ministers, deputy ministers, CEOs, and other government appointees who file to contest to become a parliamentary candidate of the party in a constituency with a sitting member of parliament shall resign their positions at least 12 calendar months to the national general elections.
Chairman, this is to ensure fair competition and a level playing field to all prospective aspirants for the position of parliamentary candidate. Recommended.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 44 is a new provision. Amend Articles 12 and 13 of the Constitution and insert a new provision to grant voting rights to former members of Parliament, former parliamentary candidates, former metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, former ministers, former deputy ministers who are card-bearing members of the party at the parliamentary and presidential primaries.
The amendment seeks to expand the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to promote inclusivity and broader participation, and is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 45 is a new provision. Amend Articles 12 and 13 of the Constitution and insert a new provision to grant voting rights to former constituency executives and former regional executives at the parliamentary and presidential primaries.
The amendment seeks to expand the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to promote inclusivity and broader participation, and is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 46. Amend Article 13(1)(6) of the Constitution to provide that national officers, ministers, deputy ministers, CEOs, and other government appointees who fail to become the presidential candidate of the party shall resign their positions at least 24 months to the national general elections.
This amendment, Chairman, is to ensure fair competition and a level playing field to all prospective aspirants for the flag bearership slot.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 47. Amend Article 13(1)(9) of the Constitution to completely abolish and do away with the special electoral college and super delegates system.
Chairman, the special electoral college system, which was introduced in the 2009 constitutional amendments to shortlist aspiring presidential candidates, is believed to have outlived its usefulness. This is recommended, Chairman.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 48. Amend Article 13(4) of the Constitution to provide for the election. Amend Article 13(11) to grant voting rights to 5 members of the Constituency Council of Elders and 10 members of the Regional Council of Elders at the presidential primaries.
These constituency and regional elders are members of the constituency and regional delegates conference respectively. Polling station and electoral area executives who form part of the delegates to the constituency conference have been given voting rights at the presidential primaries. The exclusion of the elders is an omission which should be rectified. Respectfully submitted.
Motion number 50. Amend Article 13(11) of the Constitution to include 30 national patrons and all members of the National Council of Elders to be part of the presidential primaries.
The National Council of Elders is the foremost advisory body of the party and therefore ought to be adequately represented at the second highest decision-making body of the party. The national patrons also occupy an important position in the party structure. The expansion of their members
in the presidential primaries is therefore appropriate. Respectfully recommended.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. 51. Amend Article 3011 to grant voting rights to 5 constituency patrons and 10 regional patrons at the presidential primaries.
These constituency and regional patrons are members of the constituency and regional delegates conference respectively. Polling station and electoral area executives who form part of the delegates to the constituency conference have been given voting rights at the presidential primaries. The exclusion of the patrons is an omission which should be rectified.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 52. Amend Article 1311 to grant voting rights to 1 TESCOM patron from every recognized tertiary institution in the presidential primaries.
52, right?
52.
Chairman, this amendment allows for inclusivity and broader participation. This is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 53. Amend Article 15(3) of the Constitution to make all female delegates at the National Delegates Conference eligible to vote for the position of National Women Organizer.
Chairman, the current regulations on the election of the National Women Organizer is not inclusive. This amendment, if approved by conference, will allow all female delegates, I repeat, all female delegates, to participate in the election of the National Women's Organizer. Recommended, Chairman.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 54. 54. Delegates, delegates, delegates. Delegates, delegates, delegates. Permit me to read hello. Muma Kromiyadi. Kromiyadi. 54. Amend Article 15(4) of the Constitution by defining youth in the Constitution to refer to a member of the party who is not above the age of 35 years.
My Chairman, the age limit for youth per all the international conventions and national laws shows that the highest age limit is 35. The UN puts the age bracket between 15 and 24 years, the WHO between 15 and 29, UNICEF between 15 and 24, the ILO between 15 and 24, the African Youth Charter between 15 and 35. In Ghana, the National Youth Authority Act, Act 939, defines a youth as a person between 15 and 35. My Chairman, views on this motion are very divided.
distinguished delegates of conference, those in favor of motion number 54, say aye. Those against, say no. I will take this vote again. I am going to take this vote again. I am taking this vote again. Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. Nay! 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 Conference, the nays have it. Meaning we revert to the status quo, which puts the bedding age of youth at not above the age of 40 years. 55. Amend Article 15(4) of the Constitution to make youth delegates at the National Delegates Conference eligible to vote for the position of National Youth Organizer.
Chairman, the current regulations of the election of the National Youth Organizer is not inclusive. This amendment allows all youth delegates, I repeat, all youth delegates, to participate in the election of the National Youth Organizer. Submitted, Chairman.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. Well, the ayes once again have it. Certainly, this is the last motion. 56. Amend Article 15(5)(d)(e) and related provisions that refer to national coordinator at all relevant levels. To refer to the national coordinators as coordinators as NASARA organizers.
Chairman, by the nature of their functions, NASARA coordinators should be referred to as NASARA organizers, just as is done with women and youth organizers.
Presiding Conference Chairman, General Secretary of this great party, before I draw down the curtain on this National Annual Delegates Conference, I'll read.
We didn't vote on this one.
Sorry. Those in favor of motion number 56, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. I will now, for the benefit of conference, read the sunset clause, which is ordinarily referred to as the transitional provisions. And this has been drawn by the Constitution Amendment Committee in line with the existing practice. Whereas the National Council of the party as pursuant to Article 13(1) of the Constitution, scheduled January 21, 2026, as the date to elect the party's 2028 presidential candidate. The National Annual Delegates Conference has on this day, the 19th day of July 2028, adopted the proposed amendment 2025, adopted the proposed amendment to expand the Electoral College for the election of the party's presidential candidate to include all former members of parliament, all former parliamentary candidates, all former MMDCs, all card-bearing former ministers, all card-bearing former deputy ministers, all former regional executives, all former constituency executives, all former branch executives, all the members of the National Council of Elders, the members of the National Council of Patrons, regional and constituency patrons, regional and constituency elders, and TESCON coordinators. The National Annual Delegates Conference has on this day adopted a proposed amendment to expunge the Special Delegates Electoral College from the Constitution. The term of office holders in the party from polling station to the national level has not expired. I repeat, has not expired. Accordingly, the prospective members who are to be afforded the right to form part of the structured offices at various levels by elections shall have their rights held in abeyance until upon the expiration of the tenure of the incumbent office holders. Now, therefore, it is proposed that for the avoidance of doubt, the effective dates for the new amendments relating to the additions to the polling station executives, electoral area executive committee, constituency executive committee, regional executive committee, and executive committee shall be after the January 31, 2026 presidential primaries. However, as adopted by the National Delegates Conference on this fateful day, and given the fact that the dates of the conduct of the presidential primaries have been set by the Constitution in accordance with the dictates of the Constitution, the provisions pursuant to the new amendments on presidential primaries, that is Article 13, particularly the expunging of the Special Electoral College and the expansion of the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to include former executives, former regional executives, former external branch executives, former members of parliament, former parliamentary candidates, former ministers and deputies take effect immediately, shall take effect immediately in order to give effect to the decision of the National Council and the National Delegates Conference in respect of the presidential primaries. This motion, which only seeks to bring clarity on the effect of the adoption of these amendments by conference on this day, is hereby moved for the consideration of conference. At this stage, distinguished delegates, Those in favor and all in favor of this motion, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. It is my desirable pleasure at this stage to say to conference that our duties as the Constitution Amendment Committee in respect of today's conference has come to a close. Nonetheless, it is instructive to notify all delegates that the preparatory work for the drafting of the new constitution or amended constitution pursuant to the adoption of these elaborate constitutional amendments would begin in due course. We thank you all for the support and cooperation afforded us. God bless all our distinguished delegates. God bless the great NPP party, and God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. And we shall always be bold to defend and resist the oppressor's rule. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, yes. Party anthem. We shall win to save Ghana. Thank you very much for your participation. It's been very successful. The Deputy Minority Chief Whip will be here to give us the vote of thanks. Honorable Jerry Ahmed, side. Honorable Jerry Ahmed, give us the vote of thanks. Then our third national vice chairman will give us the Muslim closing prayer.
The Honorable Acting National Chairman, distinguished representatives of the former presidents, the former vice president, national executive members, national council members, party. On behalf of the organizing team and the entire party leadership, I wish to express our deepest gratitude to all of you for your presence, commitment, and continued dedication to the ideals and progress of the NPP. Let me begin by sincerely thanking the representatives of our former presidents, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, for conveying their messages and solidarity with this conference. Their legacy continues to shape our vision, and we remain grateful for their enduring service to party and country. To our hard-working national executives, we commend your leadership and tireless efforts in steering the affairs of the party with vision and unity. A special appreciation goes to Greater Accra Regional Chairman, Chairman Divine Otu Agohom. We thank you very much for the warm welcome and the excellent coordination of this conference. Permit me to also extend a special commendation to the Constitution Amendment Committee and the National Planning Committee for their exemplary dedication and impactful work. Your contributions have been very good, and we are extremely grateful. We are also thankful to our invited guests, fraternal parties, and all stakeholders whose presence has added great value to this conference. To our gallant members of Parliament, regional and constituency executives, polling station executives, TESCON, and the Youth and Women's Wing, your energy, loyalty, and commitment are the heartbeat of our party. Thank you for your service. Let me also acknowledge the protocol, security, media, health, and logistical teams who have worked diligently behind the scenes to make this event seamless and successful. As we live here, may we be reminded that the strength of our party lies in our unity, our resolve, and our shared purpose to build a better Ghana for all. Once again, thank you all for making today a memorable success. May God bless the new patriotic party. May God bless our great nation, Ghana. Thank you all, and have a safe journey back home. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Your Excellency, the former Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, our acting National Chairman, the former Second Lady of the Republic of Ghana, the Chief of Staff, the former Chief of Staff, the General Secretary. May peace and blessings of Allah be upon all of us here, fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. We thank Almighty Allah for bringing our delegates from the various regions to the greater Accra here to participate with this historical event, which is in peace. And we ask God, Almighty Allah, to send each and everyone here to his or her constituency safely, and inshallah, we will get that. In this case, ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم ثبتنا على الإيمان وثبتنا على المسلم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة الحسنة وقنا عذاب النار. إن الله والملائكة يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليهم وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. وآخر الدعوان أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Alhaj Masaudu. We are grateful to all of you. We pray that the good Lord will take you to your various regions and to your various constituencies. It's been a very, very fruitful conference, incident-free, and that is what we expected it to be. Thank you very much once again.